Katie here from My Question Movement, and welcome to another episode of You Don't Know What You Don't Know. So today we're going to be talking about why we want to use games, why we want to incorporate play in our horses training. This is going to get a little bit heavy on the biology, so if you're not keeping up, if you get confused or overwhelmed, don't stress. It's just part of the process. This is not things that are often talked about in the industry because typically, we use the traditional training tools and methods that our instructors pass down. And so integrating the science and research into our training and the way that we work with our horses is a bit of a slow process. So today we're going to go a little bit heavy on the biology side of things. We're not going to have too much video of our horses in work because you really have to understand this part. Otherwise, you're just going to be like, oh, okay, that's, great to think that maybe we should play with our horses, but I don't have enough time. Or it's not as important as training for my comp on the weekend. Or, X, Y, Z. You'll have a bunch of reasons why you're not going to make time to play with your horse, whereas if you understand why playing with your horse is going to, improve the quality of the results at your competition, the quality of connection and communication with your horse, if you can understand why games is going to improve achieving lack of resistance, achieve willingness, and our air quotes of submission. If you can understand why using games is going to help that, then you're going to make time. You're going to make space to integrate some kind of play and tools for play within your training. So we're going to talk really quickly about nervous tone. So we're going to talk about the nervous system. There's a really important nerve that runs from our brain, and it innervates all of the things that we do unconsciously. So respiratory rate, heart rate, like breathing, digestion, anything that you're doing without consciously thinking about it, this is what this nerve is responsible for. And so that means that it's also responsible for unconsciously preparing ourselves to protect ourselves from threats. So we've got our fight, flight, or freeze state, which is going to be, it's called high tone dorsal vagal. So we're going up into rest and digest. Up into fight, flight, or freeze. And that's when all of the parts of our body come online unconsciously to get ready to run or to get ready to fight or to go deer in the headlights, just freeze mode. This happens unconsciously. It's triggered like a reflex by our interpretation of our environment and how we're wired from previous events. So then we've got our low tone dorsal vagal, which is rest and digest. So we're coming down into a state of relaxation and we're eating. So if you were thinking about being in the wild and a tiger wants to eat you, then you're going to be up in your high tone dorsal vagal, so running away. Or if you can't outrun the tiger, then maybe you're going to turn around and fight it, or maybe you're just going to freeze and hope it doesn't see you. And then, you escape the tiger and you can come down and you can relax and you can eat and your digestion turns back on. So it's about the body, recruiting the parts that is required and directing the energy into the important things. So if we go into fight, flight, or freeze, the body is directing its energy into preparing for running, so it's turning the digestion off. You don't need to be digesting foods if you're trying to escape a tiger. If we get away from the tiger, and then we can relax and we can eat. So we've got going up and down this vagal nerve, rest and digest, fight, flight, or freeze. And so if you watch our trainings on relaxation cues, that's what you're seeing is we're coming down into rest and digest. And so the digestive system switches on, and we see it in like the nerve as it kind of twitches in the side of their face, and then their whiskers are twitching, and then their lips are wibbling and wobbling, and then You'll get the lick in the chew. They might put their leg down, their nose down and rub their leg first. And then you'll see like the pole come lower than the wither. The horse feels safe to relax. The horse feels safe to eat. The horse feels safe to be vulnerable. It's going to leave its guard post and let us stand guard while they come down into the state of relaxation and they can feel safe. So when we bring our horses into work, we don't want them asleep. So how are we going to upregulate that energy again out of rest and digest into work? So this is where we have our different tools of training. If we're going to upregulate the horse's system and we're creating tension, we're using our pressure tools, we're using pain, we're using threat of survival, pressure, punishment. So we're upregulating the nervous tone through pressure, fear of punishment, fear of threat. We're upregulating their defense mechanism, coming back up into fight, flight, or freeze. So a lot of our traditional tools, think of, the bit for pain, the whip for pain, the spurs for pain, those different things that are creating pain, you're ending up using a lot of like your natural horsemanship skills of spooking them into reacting and then relaxing, spooking them into reacting and then relaxing, spooking into reacting and then relaxing. If you think about a lot of our traditional tools, we're upregulating the nervous system into fight, flight, or freeze and then trying to drop them back into relaxation to get rest and digest. So before I lose you on this part, just like stick with me because, we do use spurs and we do use bits and we do use leg pressure, but there's just a way of using it that we don't have to be upregulating through fight, flight, or freeze. And the way that we can do it is through gait. So just stick with me while we get to that point. So you're going to upregulate the nervous system, and so you're going to see scared horse behaviors, behaviors of horses that feel threatened, and so we're dropping it back down into relaxation, and so that's what we call like a toggling process. We're upregulating, downregulating, upregulating, downregulating, upregulating, downregulating. We're getting down into relaxation, and then we're building tension to get work ethic, and then we're coming down into relaxation, and then we're building up tension for work ethic. So there is another way of upregulating our horse's nervous system without having to threaten them, without fear of punishment, without getting them into fight, flight, or freeze, and it is through what is called the social engagement system. So the social engagement system is the part that switches on when you're happy. So, for a lot of my students, they will see me sometimes tense at work and I'll have my resting bitch face on. My social engagement system is off. We can look at our mares, the mare stare, their social engagement system is offline. So our social engagement system is like an expression of connection, our internal state. I am happy to see you. I love seeing you. I love being with you. There is a lightness that comes to the facial expressions. There's a lightness that comes into the experience, and we can create more energy through enjoyment of others. And then we're also going to, lean into that as well. We're going to try and fire some oxytocin. So we're going to get that love hormone working. We're going to fire some dopamine. We're going to get some task achievement happening. So if we've got that quality of social engagement system, we have oxytocin going and we've got dopamine going and we're regulating it, then we can upregulate our horse's nervous system into social engagement. And so then our horse is eager to please. So we're going to create horses that are people pleasers because they enjoy making us happy because it's fun for them. And how are we going to do it? We're going to do it with games. So using games, once the horse understands that, we're in a state of play, then that's our social engagement. So if you think about, going out to dinner with friends that you enjoy the company of, that state of relaxation. You're not asleep with like at dinner. You're chatting, you're interacting, you're enjoying conversation, you're enjoying time together. That's your social engagement. You relax, but you can be high energy. So we've got high energy as a result of stress, pressure, tension, or we've got high energy as a result of social engagement and enjoying each other's experience, like enjoying each other's company. And so this is one of the most effective ways that I have found of working with horses so that they are safe for my students, because they don't want to hurt you if you have that social engagement system switched on. If you're toggling them up into fight, flight, or freeze, then you're putting them into self-protect mode. Self-protect means don't protect the human, protect the self. So if they feel threatened by you, or if they feel scared, they don't feel connected, they don't feel like you're making them feel safe, then we're going to see the behaviors of horses that don't feel safe. So bolting, rearing, biting, striking, bucking, kicking. They're self-protect mechanisms where the horse is, saying, I don't feel safe to relax, and they're going into that instinct for self-protection. If we bring them up into social engagement, we're still gonna see things like frustration when they're trying to figure something out and they don't know what the answer is. We're still going to see like them lose interest in things if we're not finding the correct motivators. We're going to find like little breaks in connection if our horse's brain gets tired or if their body gets sore. So we can still read into what the horses actually need in support in that moment, but the games can upregulate the horse's level of energy into a positive work ethic without having to assert excessive amounts of pressure to try and like upregulate the nervous system into fight, flight, or freeze. So this is particularly helpful with our horses. It's particularly helpful with all of our horses, right? If you've done our personality quadrants, you'll see that, we've got our horses with high energy where they can become flighty or shut down. High energy but insecure, they become flighty or shut down. Or low energy but confident in themselves, so they become pushy or aggressive. And so if we're looking at the horse that is like escalating its aggressive tendencies under pressure, we're upregulating its nervous system into fight. It's confident enough in itself that when it feels threatened, it can fight. If we look at, the pushy horse that drops the shoulder and goes over top of you, same kind of deal. If we look at the horse that is spooky, then, we're upregulating the nervous system. It feels threatened, so it's running away from the threat. If we're looking at the horse that's shutting down, it internalizes, and then and it dissociates from the experience. Point of threshold where they kind of come out of that shutdown experience and they're more spooky. We tend to think these are our bomb-proof horses, but they come out of that experience of dissociating and shutdown and they become more reactive and hypervigilant of their environment. So this is why we use games, and this is why games is an important part of our holistic horse handling program. So the first thing that we're looking for is, what does it look like for this horse to feel safe? What does it look like for this horse to feel safe to relax? If we don't have your horse feeling safe to relax, then we see behaviors that are associated with feeling threatened or feeling scared or feeling insecure, which would be in our high tone dorsal vagal of fight, flight, or freeze. So the first skill that we're looking at in our holistic horse handling program is our relaxation cues. The next thing that we're looking at is compassionate leadership. So it's one thing for your horse to feel safe that you aren't the threat. It's a completely other situation to show your horse that you will keep them safe from other threats. So you have to show up within your horse-human relationship in a way that they see you as a leader worth following, and you're comfortable with allowing them to lead in certain scenarios and you to follow, and then you to lead in certain scenarios and them to follow. So you have to comfortably take give directions to your horse so that they know what is being asked of them, but then you have to hear their response as to where they need the support to be able to do the things that you are asking of them. And so a lot of us can kind of come across to, especially the more experienced horses or the older horses, is a little bit like toddlers that they have to take care of when we are naive to, their body language and their communication and where their nervous system state is at. When we aren't paying attention to those kinds of things, they kind of see us as a bit of a toddler, and so then they take the lead and tell us what to do. And especially they will do it, by moving our feet. If we don't have an awareness of how they're affecting how we move, then they really see us as a toddler. They don't see us as somebody who's capable of taking the lead, because if they can move our feet without us having awareness of it, then we are unaware of this communication with our horses. Whereas if you can say, no, this is my space, that is your space, and you can communicate that effectively with your horse, then they start to see you more as a leader. But we don't want to do it in a way that is upregulating them into fight, flight, or freeze. We want to do it in a way that is upregulating them into their social engagement system. So, and then that is where our emotional agility sets in. So being able to, getting down into that state of relaxation obviously is emotional agility as well. And then as we implement our shaping plans and our lesson plans with our horses, we want to pay attention to how they are responding to how we're implementing the lesson plan, how we're implementing the shaping plan. Is the way that we're communicating with our horse building tension, making them feel threatened, making them feel unsafe? Are we seeing threatened and unsafe behaviors as a result of implementing these tools? And as a result, creating little tears in their trust and confidence in us, or their felt sense of safety? Or are we upregulating them into the social engagement system, where it's building trust and confidence, it's building quality of relationship as we build these communication skills in, as we do our lesson plans and our shaping plans. So there's this place, this is the purpose of our groundwork, right? It's a lot of us get taught that the purpose of the groundwork is submission to us, to power over, so that we can control our horses. But our horses don't respond to that. They don't like it. They fight or they get scared. So, where control actually is through connection. It's an acceptance of we don't have physical control over them. Sure, a certain proportion of our horses we can manhandle if we really are desperate to, but, it's not an ideal situation, because it's not safe for us and it's not safe for the horse. What we're looking for is control through connection. So when we are actually relinquishing control and accepting the fact that we have not got control over our horse, we have to let go of that fear of not having control, and we have to look for that place of connection. A lot of that happens in games, in the way that we play and the way that we interact with each other. And so there's a building down and a building up effect of, bringing them up into games and then getting them down into a state of relaxation, because obviously games can get them excited and it can get them over threshold in itself. So what we're doing is we are learning the skills and we are working with the horse's skills and their ability to upregulate their energy, but have it in manageable energy, and then downregulate the energy again. And so this is like a really important role of oxytocin, of our love hormone. If our oxytocin is on board, as the horses upregulate their energy, they are more careful. They don't want to hurt us. They, if you look at play between horses that like each other, like it can get pretty hectic, but they're careful. There's a video that I was watching of, a dog and a horse playing. It was very playful. It wasn't like fear or dominance or anything. And both of them were like really controlling themselves in their expression of that play. Like they weren't fully accelerating on that play button. And so that's what we want to do with our horses, is we want to upregulate them so that they can feel like working with us is fun, but then we're going to downregulate them into relaxation if that energy is getting too high for us. And so we just do that, with breaks and with giving them a little rest. We can also do it with our breath work. Our breath work is very intimately related with our nervous system, and if we are connected on the level of nervous system co-regulation, then that is where we are actually together in the moment, and the control happens as a result of the level of connectedness. So our mini course Training with Games is currently available at a discounted price if you are looking at being able to upregulate your horse's nervous system into a more positive expression of how they're experiencing their environment. It helps obviously to build that quality of connection so that our horses can enjoy working with us again, which can reduce the conflict and the fight between us and our horse. It can reduce the guilt of not feeling like you're good enough, not feeling like you're doing the right thing, not feeling like you're maybe your horse needs a better rider, or you need a different horse, or you should send your horse away for training. And it just takes away that worry of like where these, behaviors are escalating to can feel very scary. So, what it looks like when we do switch that social engagement system on is a lot, it's a lot nicer. Simple as that. And this is one of the game changers that I have found in my training with my horses, is that if we can go into our relaxation work and then we can upregulate through games and then focus into work and then downregulate into relaxation when they need a break, then we're showing them how to increase their energy output without having to pressure or stress them, build tension, and then it really significantly reduces problems like kicking out, that argument that you can have when you're trying to get more effort from them, napping, rearing, when you put your legs on to get them to go when they kick out, and pin their ears when you try to use your legs, like all of those little things that, the horses are showing that they're not inspired to move forward or to do the work that you're asking them. We can get that on board and working on the ground first, so that when we get into the saddle, we have more willingness, we have more submission because our horse is enjoying the work and is actively wanting to participate. So we're just transferring the skills that we learn when we're learning how to play with our horse into the saddle, and we're, just continuing that positive development of that positive work ethic through dopamine, immense sense of task achievement, and satisfaction of achievement by being strategic in how we structure our repetitions of our written skills. So that's it for me today. The link to our games course is in the notes section. Until next time, happy trails.